Welcome to Media Pod Smash. We're deep into the season. I don't even know what episode this is going to be yet because my list is still ongoing. I am joined with two very special guests tonight, Damon and Mike from the Film Club. Hi,
Hi.
guys.
Hi.
So, this is our big Halloween celebration. Unfortunately, we're down a man, but hope maybe he'll jump in at some point and join us, and we'll have another special guest come in. But for now, it is this crew, and we're gonna talk a lot about like our Halloween memories and traditions and different things like that. Because it's funny, for as long as we've been doing stuff together and recording things, like I don't think we've ever really had like a true Halloween episode where I don't really know any of your Halloween memories, really. Maybe a few if you mentioned them in the past and then they jar my memory, but um, it'll be fun. But I thought before we talked about that kind of stuff, we could talk a little bit about the film that we just did. Because we never really got a chance to discuss that either. And it premiered already. It kicked off the 31 days of Halloween, and it was a little bit different than some of the stuff we've normally done because we kind of had to get creative with our cutting. And first, I guess I'll just ask what are some of your thoughts on our latest film? Whoever wants to start.
I thought it turned out well. I Obviously the big thing with it is that we shot most of it just with Jeremy and myself, and then we re-recorded Mike and Derek's audio as though they were following us. That was actually your idea, I think, Jeremy. But yeah, it's 40 minutes long, so it's definitely the longest one that we've ever done. Probably overall the most ambitious. I thought the structure turned out cool as far as the different. It really does seem like we were there for a couple of days, so I thought that worked out well. And I listened to your episode today where you had the behind the scenes stuff, and I thought that was cool. And I'm glad you appreciated my going off on tangents and improvising lines and things like that.
Of
So,
course. Yeah.
uh, I should bring up the fact too. The day after we shot that, my legs were really, really sore.
Okay. Um, I missed the premiere. I was kind of bummed out about that. I was, I guess, one day late with my life. Um, but aside from that, yeah, I thought it turned out really well, as they always do. And it was a weird year because we just didn't get to meet to do this all at once.
Yeah.
Um, so despite that, though, I thought it turned out well. I told you last week that I thought the high points were the improvising of the lines, a lot of the confessional scenes. I thought both you and Damon did a good job with that. I was impressed. I thought the acting was actually quite good, for again, not having a script or anything. I thought that things turned out well. And then, like that scene that you mentioned where the people were like screaming in the background,
Hmm.
that fit in really well. And Damon did a good job incorporating that into his talk.
Yeah. I'm so happy they did that, and I'm so happy that you kept rolling with that. That
Hmm.
was great accident. Uh, There was a scene that I wish I kept rolling on at the beginning when we were actually at the gas station and the lady behind the counter asked what we were doing. And Damon said we were out looking for the witch.
Yeah, the Witch of the Oak Leaf Trail, and then she just kind of looked perplexed. Didn't really say anything. But yeah, as you mentioned in the behind the scenes stuff today on the video, we were kind of following the Blair Witch Project. And in the Blair Witch Project, that's a big part of the film at the beginning is they're going up to the locals and asking them about the witch. And then so I thought that would have been a cool thing to and the other big thing about the film is that it actually is based off of a real event
Yeah.
where I was out biking. This is 10 years ago, and it was about 10:45 p.m. It was after a class that I taught, and I had to get that bike ride in. And it was by Seven Bridges, and I was looking over at the parking lot by Seven Bridges, and I saw it was weird lighting over there, and it was just it didn't look sort of normal. And then I turned my head, and about 6 inches in front of me was this cloaked figure. It was a metallic bronze cloak, and then that face was just completely black. And she had like a 6 foot staff that she was holding. It was a female between the ages of like 25 and 35 because I got a clear look at her hand. And I almost said like I'm sorry, like I almost hit you. I was just like I didn't I knew something was very wrong with the situation, so I just didn't say anything. I didn't even know what I was looking at. Like my brain wasn't processing what I was looking at. And then about a minute after I passed her, I figured out what I had just seen. And then Mike tipped me off because I told you guys the following like December, so a couple months later. And then Mike found the segment on the Fox News segment where they did the chicken sacrifices being found in Grant Park. He's the one that tied that it must be the same person. So yeah, it's based off of a real thing that happened.
Yeah, that's cool that we were able to actually incorporate the news piece too into the film. And
Yeah, yeah.
I'm really happy with how it turned out despite like some of the things that we had to overcome initially. And it's funny to think back to like the last summer before that, how many we were able to squeeze in. And it's just weird how things work out differently sometimes.
Well, I might
But
have another coming up.
yeah,
Maybe at the campus of UW Waukesha.
yeah. But overall, yeah, I mean, I think if you haven't watched it yet, go watch it after you're done listening to this episode. I think you will not be disappointed. And I liked also just to see the evolution. I should have done what Derek did and had like a marathon prior to the premiere just to see how far we've all come as a group. But yeah, good stuff, and there's a bright future ahead for them for the Mysteries from Beyond team. But now I think we could move on to some Halloween stuff. I thought we should probably start by just going into some of our cherished memories of the season. Um, I'm kind of curious, like, if you have like any favorite childhood memories of Halloween or trick or treat or really anything. Like, yeah,
I wrote down a couple things. One, when I was a kid and through fifth grade, I attended Catholic elementary school, much like Jeremy, and it is a very different vibe than public school. But our St. Vincent's, they had their own haunted house, so they converted the boys' locker room into a haunted house, and they even had a chainsaw and everything at the very end.
that's
So
awesome.
I thought that was so cool that the St. Vincent's, that they got so into that they made their own haunted house. So I really enjoyed that memory a lot. Um, and then a little bit later on, when I was in high school, freshman year, um, my brother and I and my friend Rick Pollock, some you may remember him as Night Guy Rick.
Oh yeah.
Uh, we got into a competition over how many pumpkins we could smash, like in the neighborhood over the course of the Halloween season. And so for me, I think it was like around 60. Like we got in like 60. We all got around the same amount, but and then Rick, you know those like bags that people fill with leaves, but it would look like a pumpkin then or something like that.
Yeah.
So he bought a sword at like the mall, and then he would go around and he'd cut the bags open and like scatter the leaves.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah. So those are some favorite Halloween memories for me.
What was it like? Like, what was trick or treat like back in the day for you? Like, did you guys
Oh
have
yeah,
nighttime?
yeah. So I was gonna say because I think you said in East Troy it was always during the day.
Yeah, pretty much. There was a small overlap with night, but it's pretty dead by night.
As a kid, I would not go out during the day. I refused. I thought that it was like sacrilege.
Hmm.
So I just like we would always wait until night, and then I I only went trick or treating with that. Like I don't even remember going with my parents or my mom. I remember our sister Carla taking us. That would be my twin brother and I. Like maybe 1 year, and then after that, we were probably like 8, and then it was my brother, myself, and then our friend Bill Szynski. Um, and he was like a year older, and then they would just let us go on our own, even though we were only, like maybe like 8, and 9.
Wow.
And so we would. I remember Bill had he would bring like a 30-gallon garbage bag, you know. And so it was like, yeah, it was sort of insane as far as that. And I do remember once too, as a kid, uh, the day after Halloween. Two more quick memories. The day after Halloween, I remember waking up and thinking, "Oh, it's gotta be an entire year before there's another Halloween," and I was really disappointed in that. And then 1 year with Bill again, as we were a little bit older and shenanigans, um, we decided like that he had this like werewolf mask, so he put it on, and we were gonna try to trick or treat the day after Halloween to see what would happen. And so we went to the neighbor's house, and he was just knocking on the door, but no one answered. Oh, yeah, so those are my Halloween memories.
Nice. What about you, Mike?
What do you want me to talk about? Trick or treating?
Well, whatever. I guess I was just asking about the trick or treating to Damon because I didn't know how different it was from like what I've experienced or what we've
Mm.
experienced, really. I mean, I don't know. Sure, let's go into the trick or treating first. What are your
Well,
trick
it
or treat
sounds like it was
memories?
kind of like your town experience where it is mostly during the day and then at night it's still going on, but there's really not really as many kids out. And I don't really remember. Maybe I was out at night and I just don't remember, but I don't really remember being out at night except a couple times because I remember that it's that story I told you the other day where it's one of my memories where it was legitimately scary. I think I was with my cousins and it was just a house just down the street, and there was two creepy things about it that I remember there as we walked up to the house. And keep in mind I was maybe like 10 and my cousins they're quite a bit older than me. The one is like 6 years older and one's 4 years older, so they would have been like in their teens at the time. So I don't think they were as scared. Um, but as we walked up to the house, there was a person that I still believe was a real person, but the person wasn't moving. They were just sitting on a bench on the porch, and They never moved. I think they were real though. It didn't look like a stuffed person. I just believe that it was a real person. The person never moved and you had to walk by them to go up to the door. So that was creepy. I thought they were going to grab me or something. And then what was scary going up to the door is that the person had a screen door with uh, like the top half of the door was a screen, and they took the screen out, so you could just like reach into the house if you wanted to. And nobody was there at the door. We rang the doorbell. Nobody showed up, and then out of nowhere, someone popped up from underneath the screen. It was so random, but it scared the hell out of me. They were wearing like a T-Rex head, and and the guy just stood there staring at us. And then I remember him saying, he said, "Come closer." And I didn't want to come closer at all. And I was still watching this person sitting on the bench thinking that they're going to grab me. I don't remember if I even went up to the house. I think my older cousins might have went, because again, they just weren't as scared. But that's a trick-or-treating memory I have where I was actually scared. And I don't know if people do that kind of stuff anymore, where trick-or-treating is sometimes they're actually trying to scare kids.
Right.
Nowadays, it seems kind of just, decorate the yard maybe, and hand out candy in a normal way, not even in costume, or just set out a bowl and
Right. Yeah. So people aren't even around.
right.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that's changed? I don't see people trying to scare kids anymore. That's gone away.
Yeah, I really don't see it either. My neighbor across the street did one year, I remember, but it was back when we were children, and he only did it one year that I can recall. So I wonder if he had like a change of heart, like maybe he scared the wrong kid and he felt bad, so he didn't want to do it anymore. But I don't see
Well,
it.
what did he do? Like, how did he scare them?
It was sort of like what you're talking about, where there was like someone sitting on the chair, like on the front, out in the front, and he was dressed up as like sort of kind of like a scarecrow. Like he had a flannel on, and I think there was like straw coming out, and it kind of just looked like he was sitting there as a model. And then as the kids would get closer, I think he might have even had the bowl with him.
Oh,
So like if the kid went in for the bowl, he would go ah. But yeah, it was only a one-time deal from what I could recall. And I don't see it now. I just don't really, except like animatronics. A lot of those I see those scaring the crap out of kids still. Like,
yeah.
but
Sometimes, sometimes the kids are so little that they don't appreciate it. They're gonna just be flat out terrified and not gonna enjoy it.
yeah,
Whereas older kids, they'll get scared maybe, but they'll still like get the thrill of it. But if it's a littler kid, they're just gonna be freaked out and
right.
maybe not even want to do it anymore.
Yeah, just associate the season with trauma for the rest of their
Yeah.
lives. I mean,
I saw, speaking of those giant, remember we were talking about those giant things that is like a trend nowadays?
yeah,
Like the 10 feet tall skeletons or whatever.
yeah.
I saw that somebody stole one in our neighborhood. And I was thinking, how do you even do that? I mean, you'd have to have time to take it apart, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then store it in the vehicle. These are huge things.
Yeah, that's like one hell of a Halloween heist. I mean, you must be some heavy sleepers at that place.
Yeah.
How do you even, what does it attach to? Does it have like a giant base? I've never really
Yeah, I don't
gotten
know.
close to one.
You mean like a stake in the ground that it's attached to?
Yeah, because I always assumed you just had to like anchor it to like the house or something, like to a gutter or something. If someone just stole it
I don't know.
out of
What
thin
I found
air.
ironic too. What?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, if someone just stole it out of thin air, apparently that one wasn't secured
Oh,
to much.
what was funny too is if this was on a next door post, and the people they're like, yeah, we're too cheap to pay for our Ring camera service, but it's like, but yet you spent like $400 on that thing, you know.
Priorities.
Anyway, I didn't mean to get sidetracked, but what are your some of your trick-or-treating memories?
Well, gee. I mean, I have a lot of fond memories of walking around our neighborhood, even when we were kids, it was never really a nighttime thing. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, like we had to go out of town if we wanted to do nighttime trick or treat, which we did occasionally. Like we'd go to my uncle's place, and I told actually a story on the first podcast of the season where like I got inspired to do like crazy stuff with my yard because I saw some guy who like went all out with his house. And that was in my uncle's like rich subdivision. And like I was immersed in that world and I was like, this is awesome. Like I would one day, I swear, this is my house will be like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like as far as like fond memories, I mean it's cool. Like I do miss like walking around and just going from house to house, having those vibes. Like there's nothing ever that's like sticks out too much in particular from like my town trick or treating, but it was just like it was fun. It was just
Yeah.
fun and innocent, and um, yeah.
Do you know if there is a business out there that where people can pay you to decorate their yard for Halloween?
I saw something actually, because I feel like this came up one time before, and I saw this on Instagram actually. There's a service out there that does something very similar to that. Yeah.
It came up with us.
I think we did talk about it,
I don't remember talking about it.
maybe this was a totally separate conversation. Well, someone else maybe is into this too, then the idea of a service.
Yeah, well, the reason I say that is because one, I think I've realized now that people are willing to pay for anything. At least some people are willing to pay for everything so they don't have to do it. But then I also recall that I was watching a Law and Order episode from like 30 years ago, and the guy happened to mention how he paid like $10,000 for people to decorate his house with Christmas lights. And I just figured, well, if people are paying for that, the Christmas lights, they might pay for the Halloween decorations. That's a
Yeah.
possible business opportunity. Because it just seems like we're kind of in a culture where we're a services economy, you know? If
Hmm.
people are offering something, there's people out there willing to pay for it because they don't want to do it.
Right. Yeah, that's
Like you
true.
mentioned, you when we were talking about buying that movie theater, you said that the first thing you'd do if you were going to start a business would be a cleaning company. You know,
Yeah,
didn't you say that?
I did say that.
So that's an example where people are willing to pay for cleaning services.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's for sure. Yeah, totally. I would bet there are definitely like scare decoration services around
Yeah.
for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
You'd have to have like a huge, probably like almost like a, not a warehouse, but some large storage unit to keep all your stuff. But
Yeah.
otherwise, yeah, I think that could be a business opportunity.
Yeah, it could be interesting. You still get to express your creative side if they let you go
Right.
crazy with it
Mhm.
on your own. Unless you
Hmm.
get like someone who's like, no, it has to be by this specific blueprint, or I don't want it.
Well, then you could say you wouldn't have to accept that job,
True.
you know?
Yeah. You're right.
You could
Sorry.
say, well, it sounds like you have your own vision. Maybe you should just do it.
There you go. Yeah. If you don't trust the artists at work, then you're out of luck. But yeah. All right. So Oh, did you guys have any like costumes that you really liked from childhood or even
I
adulthood,
did
I
win
guess?
I won a best costume at the St. Vincent's Halloween like get together. Like all the classes would get together on Halloween day, and then they would pick out like one person from each class that got best costume. And yeah, I won one year. I think I was like a hobo, and like be someone, yeah. Um, I just maybe had like dirt on my face and like clothes that were a little too long. But I remember the priest, Father Gene Schmidt. I was walking because we do like a parade through the school, and then he's like, "Oh, a hobo." So I think he voted for me. Yeah, and I think that the prize was $1, so I won $1.
Nice.
Yeah, I remember they weren't really favorites, but I just remember a couple that I went for when I was a kid was a mummy, because I remember it was falling apart by the end of the trick-or-treating. It was dragging on the ground. And then I was Ghostface one of the years, and that was probably when those were out, in the late
Mhm.
90s. So those were the two I can recall.
I think some of the standout ones for me would probably be like one year I went as a robot, and I think
Hmm,
that actually won a contest too, at St. Peter's. And um, there was some pretty weird ones. I went one year as Coolio, which is, I mean, I just had a microphone. I didn't take it too far. I just
yeah,
kept saying
is
I
that
was
the guy
Coolio.
that had that big clock around his neck?
No, that was Flavor Flav.
Oh, okay, okay,
Coolio was a guy who he had like one or two big hits in the 90s, and like I really liked him because he did the opening theme song, I think, to Keenan and Kel. I think that was him. I don't know.
okay.
I had like a weird short stint where I really liked that 90s rapper. But then like I don't know, I had a lot of generic costumes too. Definitely like a lot of store bought.
Yeah,
Yeah. So now I think it'd be fun to play uh a game. I've got a couple of games planned for tonight, and this game is a quote game. I've got
okay,
five famous horror quotes, and I really just need to know the movie. You don't even have to tell me who said it, because some of these I don't
okay.
even have it written down who said it, but it is kind of, if you know the movie, you kind of know who said it. So in most
So
instances,
is this something where you came up with them yourself, or are these on cards?
I did this one on my own. Well, I did bring the
Okay.
slash cards for the end, though.
Okay, so you're gonna know the answers. This isn't something you can play with us.
Unfortunately, no, I can't play this one with you guys,
All right.
but I can deliver some award-winning performances for the quotes to
Hmm.
try to help you achieve greatness.
Okay.
Okay, so this will be just first to call it out, and yeah, here's the first one. Listen to them, children of the night. What music they make.
This is Dracula.
That was Dracula from Dracula. Okay.
Which Dracula? Like the one from like the 30s?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. All right, here we go. This one, there's a bonus if you can name the exact movie. So, welcome to prime time, bitch.
Um, it was one of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
So I'll give you a point for that. And if you could
Um,
name the exact one, you get a bonus point.
um, I'm gonna say hmm, I'm not as into the Freddy movies. Dream Warriors.
It was Dream Warriors.
Uh,
Yeah. All right.
Did
Next
you
quote.
see that they were screening the 40th anniversary of Elm Street at Marcus
I did not see that. That's
this,
awesome.
this past weekend?
Cool. That would have been fun to see on a big screen. Hmm.
I've never seen that movie.
None of them?
No,
Wow. Interesting.
I've seen portions of the first one, like the bed scene when Johnny Depp gets sucked into the bed. But otherwise, no, I haven't seen that movie.
They're
None of them.
pretty unique. They do a
Hmm.
lot of cool stuff with their effects.
Hmm.
All right, next quote. Ted, where's the corkscrew? I don't even know if I
These are good lines. I just don't know it.
no
Um,
guesses.
is it is it referring to Ted Bundy?
No. It was from Friday the 13th, part 4.
Hmm.
Oh, what part in the movie?
It's the part with Crispin Glover before he dies. He gets corkscrewed in the head.
Uh,
I delivered it wrong. It's Ted, where the hell's the corkscrew? And then he gets stabbed.
Oh, see, I would
I'm
have got it
sorry.
then.
Yes, there you go. The one missing word makes all the difference. But it's not as classic as some of these other lines. I just wanted to say that really badly, so I had to write it in there as part of the game. All right. Next line. They're coming to get you, Barbara.
That's Night of the Living Dead.
Yes. Point. All right.
Nice job, too, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
This one's a little lengthy. But you'll probably know it right as soon as I start. Wendy, darling,
The
light of my
Shining.
life. Yeah. I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah,
I'm
keep
not
going.
gonna
I wanna hear the rest of it.
I'm not gonna hurt you. You didn't let me finish my sentence. I said I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains in. All right. That's all we have for this game. So,
I want to make a little comment about The Shining. I don't know if we've talked about this before, but what are your thoughts on that character, the Wendy character?
Um, I've been told that she resembles my mom in appearance. So,
Okay.
but I know if she Kubrick really terrorized her on the set. So her performance was sort of crafted by his sort of manipulating her.
I've heard that as well.
Yeah.
Okay,
Because
the reason I ask is because I've seen a lot of criticism of her performance and just that character. A lot of people just found her annoying and irritating, and that always bothered me because I think that that was one of the best performances in a film. I thought she did an amazing job. I thought that was an Academy Award deserving, at least of a nomination. I thought she was excellent in that movie. And I always got irritated because it's like, I never understood how people could see her as irritating when all she did in that movie was be one, a good mother and a devoted wife to somebody who didn't deserve it.
yeah,
He wasn't a good guy and he treated her lousy, like when that scene when she walks in and he's trying to do his writing, and he's all sweet at first and then he's like, Wendy, when you hear this sound, and then he clicks the typewriter a little bit. that means I'm in here working. And then he goes off saying, like, now why don't you start by getting the fuck out of here?
Mhm.
And I thought the way she acted there was that was one of my favorite scenes. I really feel for that character, when she gets treated like that, because she just kind of walks away. She's like, okay, and you can just see. So that movie kind of hits me a little bit with that because um I thought she was excellent. I really sympathize with her character, and I thought that that was an excellent performance. I never agreed at all how people view her as annoying when, again, she was a great mother and a devoted wife. I never liked that, the way people see her that way. I don't get it.
Mhm. This game, we can jump right into. It's another game that I made up, so I
Okay.
cannot participate in it. But this is going to be like a Family Feud style game. Um, but it's basically like if a network allowed me to do my own Halloween marathon, these are the 6 movies that I would include for that day.
Mm.
And nothing is like, no, there's nothing like really obscure on here at all. But there
So we're
are,
trying to guess what you would pick for a movie marathon.
yeah, you're gonna try to guess my 6 movies that I put on for my Halloween marathon for the network, and they're really not in any particular order, but there's 6 total, and you can go back and forth, and you could be the family. You both get points for this one if you win.
Well, I can't believe that you wouldn't have Friday the 13th in there.
I do have Friday the 13th, but which one?
Part 3.
Part 3 is on there. Show me Friday. Yeah, that one's there.
So is that the only one of the series?
There's one more Friday the 13th movie on this list.
Part
Okay.
6.
Part 6. You guys know me pretty well. This could end quickly. There's 4 movies left. I really had to count that.
I think you're a Nightmare on Elm Street fan, so
A Nightmare on Elm Street is on there. The very first
first one?
one. Yep.
okay.
The very first Chucky.
That is
Child's
not on
Play?
there. That is not on there. One of them, there is a more modern film on here.
Okay, define modern, like last 10 years or
2012, I think.
Cabin in the Woods?
That's it. Cabin in the Woods.
We went to see that as a film club.
It's a
Is a
great movie.
Scream movie in there?
I should have put a Scream movie on there, but there is not a Scream movie on there.
Okay. Is the Cabin in the Woods the most recent one on the list?
Yes.
Okay. So what do we need? 2 more?
2 more.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That should have been on there instead of this other one that's on here, but no.
I feel like you said they're mainstream?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Halloween.
Yes. And there's, just to make this easier, there is one more Halloween movie left.
Seasons of the Witch.
Yeah. That's all of them. All right. So just going to calculate some things here. And okay. Now we're going to move on to a question. What do you guys think is the best Halloween candy?
The best Halloween candy. Probably Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
You'd have to ask me that like 20 years ago. Just because I don't really eat candy anymore.
Well, I can't. Can you ask yourself from 20 years ago what your favorite candy was?
I don't remember.
All right.
I always Well, nowadays my favorite Halloween candy is an apple. That's what I'm giving to the kids. I'm just kidding. And I think a little toothpaste.
There you go.
That's what I'll be giving.
You're-
Um, I did used to like candy corn, but not it gets it gets too sweet after a while though. So when you first have those first five candy corns, it's a treat,
mhm.
you
And then
know?
the
But
sixth one that puts you over the top.
well, I kind of just threw out that five there, but it doesn't take that many to kind of realize and get like, okay, that's enough sugar or whatever they put in there. That's enough sweet. But yeah, a few candy corns can really hit the spot.
Okay. Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm a big fan of Reese's peanut butter cups.
Hmm.
Yeah. I
I
I do
like the commercial that they have playing for them this year. Have you seen it?
um I think I
Oh
have
wait,
seen
you
it.
know what? That's my mistake. It's not. That's not even for Reese's. It's for Kit Kat.
Oh, okay.
Whoops.
What's the
But
Kit Kat
anyway, have you
one?
seen the Kit Kat
I
commercial?
don't know if I did or not, to be honest with
It's
you.
it's goofy. I like the it's this little boy. He goes something like, "You know what my favorite part about Halloween is?" And then the dad talks. He's like, "What's that, son?" He goes, "That I get all my Kit Kats on Halloween for free." And he's like, "Son, you're 8. You get all your Kit Kats for free." And then the
Yeah.
kid doesn't even address that, and he just goes, "Happy Halloween."
I
He
have
just
seen
ignored
that.
what he said.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, I like a lot of candy, man. The
Are you
Italian,
still a candy eater even now?
yeah, there was a few years where like I was really not into it at all, and then all of a sudden I just like I love it,
You're
especially
back.
around this
I love
season.
it. Why were you not into it? Were you consciously making a decision to cut back, or did you just kind of stop?
Yeah, I kind of did make a decision to like an effort to stop, and I was really good at it. But
And was
now,
that when you were trying to just get healthier?
yeah,
Hmm.
and I was worried about my teeth.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
but now I guess it just doesn't matter. I've just given up.
Well,
I'm eating out of a box of Wednesday Gushers.
were you having problems with your teeth
Um,
because of all the
I
candy?
I haven't had any issues yet, but I mean this is like I've got horrible dental anxiety, so like I haven't gone in a while, so I was just doing preventative measures, I guess. And I mean
Do you mean you haven't gone in a while, like back then when you took the break, or you still haven't gone
I
in a
don't
while?
even want to answer that question.
I think I know the answer.
Happy Halloween. I could try to participate in this one, but I might see the
Yeah.
answers right away.
Well, remember too, Jeremy, if you wanted to talk about that haunted house story
Which one was that? Remind me.
with Sherry,
Oh yeah.
if you want to get into that, I
Yeah, we
don't
could
know.
get into that was funny. I forgot about that actually. I forgot we talked about that.
Hmm.
Well, do we want to talk about that first? Now I get these cards ready.
Sure. Well, do you want me to, should we just kind of go over haunted house stories in general?
Yeah, we
Because I
should.
have some others.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Um,
Well, yeah, that was something that I used to do a lot when I was a kid, was go to the haunted houses, corn mazes, and things like that with family. And there's one memory I have where it really was kind of traumatizing because the person working there went completely overboard with their responsibilities. Uh, I don't know if you remember the story, but it was at Bear's Den, I think, which I think still operates. Um, do you know that one?
I remember that place.
Yeah, and they had a corn maze slash haunted house, and the actual uh like events and scenes in the house was normal and it was good, but what terrified me was at the very end when we're leaving the place and it's supposed to be over and we're walking out to the car and there was a guy who I think was wearing maybe a ghost face mask or something like that, and he just was targeting me. I was like 10 and he
Jeez.
was just targeting me. I was like running around my parents screaming, saying, "Help me, help me." And my parents told the guy to stop uh, many times. And he kept chasing me. We were running down the whole field. At this point, I was running away. I wasn't even near my family anymore. I just went on my own and I ran into the gift shop.
Holy crap.
And he didn't follow me in there, thankfully. But I remember I ran in there. They were like serving apple cider. And um, he didn't come in there. That was his boundary. But I thought that was nuts. I think that guy was a psycho
Yeah, that's too
for
far.
completely went way overboard, singled me out, knew that I was terrified.
Yeah, like when you went,
That's
as soon as you
that's
went to your
psychotic.
parents, like that's
Yeah,
where
the
yeah,
parents were saying stop multiple
yeah,
times.
yeah, that's where it should have stopped. That's crazy. How
Yeah.
many people do you think actually like get involved in that because they want to like get those like urges out?
That's a good question. It'd be interesting to have somebody on here that works at one of those places because I wonder that too. What are the motives for people who work at places like that? You
Right.
know, is it just to have a fun uh um temporary job, you know, to make some money where they can kind of be a character for a while? Or is it people who have a more disturbing agenda
Hmm.
who enjoy terrorizing people? Every now and then you do hear about people who either like kind of sexually assault somebody in these places or maybe something a little more serious like I don't know, an attempted murder. I don't know about that, but I've definitely heard of assaults taking place at places like that. And it's if you're one of those people, that's kind of a ideal place to do that because you're already in costume. People are expecting that. You're already trying to scare people. People are expecting that. There's always like quiet places that you could do this with somebody, you know, somebody screams, okay, who's going to care? There's screaming going on anyway, you know?
Hmm.
So, yeah, they made a movie. I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, I wish I could remember the name. It wasn't that good. It might have even just been a TV movie, but it was from a few years ago. I think it was on Sci-Fi. It was pretty good. It was about that of somebody working at uh, a haunted house and kind of like a Six Flags type place where they do the whatever they call it for the Halloween time. But yeah, that was a good movie. But that's a good question. You never worked at one of those, did you?
I volunteered at a corn maze like back when I was like middle school because it was kind of weird. This was, do you remember Stacy Farms?
I heard of it.
Okay. Like our
Where
friend,
was that?
it was in McGuanago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like they had a really weird system because they had some actors that were like definitely paid actors that like had more prominent roles, but then the
Yeah.
rest of the people were like all volunteer and like a lot of them were just kids. And you never really got to know where to like be stationed. You kind of just they're like spread out throughout the cornfield. There was no specifics. And yeah, I remember doing that a few times with my friend Garrett. And it was fun because we got to like stand together and scare people. So like the times where there weren't people coming, we would just talk and like we'd get spooked because we were in a corn maze. So it was actually scary for us too. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
but
were you playing a role, or what was your like
it,
job?
yeah, we popped out. Like well, not
Oh,
really. It wasn't a role. Yeah, I mean, like I was I was one of the volunteers. Yeah, basically wait for footsteps, pop out, and then go back in.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's the thing too, is that I think there's something kind of comical about the actual job where, because I think a lot of people, they just think, well, they just scare people all the time. Well, a lot of it, you're just sitting around waiting,
yeah,
you know, twiddling your thumbs, listening for people.
yeah.
It probably gets a little old after a while, I would think. Did it get old for you, or did you love it?
There were definitely times where it could get a little old, especially if it was like a chilly night and you'd
Oh,
have
sure.
a long
Yeah.
gap. Yeah. And
Yeah.
but it was cool. Yeah, it was definitely a cool experience. I mean, it got you in the spirit. It got you in the mood for the holiday. Even though they didn't
hmm
pay you, it was you got food.
hmm
But
hmm
as a kid, I guess it didn't really matter. You're just happy to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that brings us to the main story. Should we get into that now?
Yeah. I
Okay.
think that's a good idea. Unless you have any good haunted house stories, Damon.
Yeah, I was one night I did when I was a freshman or sophomore in high school. I've someone a friend Bill Szynski, my friend, he said, "Do you want to be a part of a haunted house one night?" And it was at the mall in Oshkosh, and I just put on some mask, and it was yeah, I was just after doing that, I had absolutely no fear of haunted houses because I just realized it's just like a bunch of teenagers in plastic masks, you know. But there, most of the night, it was like it was our room, and then like the room next to us, and there was like talk of a fight that was going to happen all night long. The two monster rooms were going to brawl, but that was about it. And then I recognized some people from high school that went through, but yeah, I have absolutely no fear of haunted houses after that.
All right. Well, we had a pretty funny haunted house experience as a group.
Yeah, we were talking about this. This happened like 8 years ago now, right?
Geez, that long already? That's
I
crazy.
think so.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, that sounds right. Yeah. Yeah.
So this was at the Waukesha place, right?
It was. Yeah. The fear grounds, they call it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at the county expo place. Um yeah, we want to share this because we learned of a revelation like a few years ago. I think we were at a restaurant when we were talking about this, just reminiscing, and we didn't know. I, I don't think you knew, Jeremy, at the time. I certainly didn't know because I remember just being, my mind was blown because I didn't know this was all going on behind the scenes. So when we were there, it was the three of us that had gone, and then we were waiting in line, and then this girl Sherry was there, and I think she was there because her friend was working there. Was that right?
I think that's right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she was going to go through it alone, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That was her
And
initial plan.
was the plan too that like she would see her friend in the during the thing?
I
Oh,
guess.
uh, uh, so anyway, that's not the important part. But then we ended up, she kind of talked with you or all of us, I don't know, and she went with us through the thing.
hmm
And the revelation that I was blown by was that Damon, there were two parts to that haunted house or maze.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember Damon doing this, but you left after the first one, didn't you, Damon?
I left and I said, "Let's go, Mike. Like it's time to go."
Yeah.
Did you hear him say that?
I'm sure that I motioned for Mike to come with me. I'm sure I did.
Okay, but say, you gotta say why.
The reason why is because it was the girl that was talking to Jeremy. I could tell that there was a romantic spark between them, and so I wanted to leave them alone to have time in the maze together. So, as any good friend would.
Okay.
If
So yeah,
if the
you
situation would have been reversed, I would have wished that my friends left at that point.
okay, so there's a couple questions I have there. First of all, so yeah, you and Jeremy, you and Sherry were connecting, I guess, right?
That evening, I would say so.
Okay.
I
Well,
guess.
what I want to know is, Damon, when you said that, why didn't I leave too? I don't remember.
Why didn't you leave?
Yeah, why didn't I go with you?
I don't know. I think because you paid for it. You wanted to get your money's worth.
Because when you said, Mike, and again, I don't even remember this. I thought that you were there with us the whole time. This is fuzzy to me. But you didn't indicate why you were leaving?
I was trying to be subtle. Yeah.
Yeah, and that completely went over my head. And because that I ended up going through the whole thing. I didn't know any of this. This is the revelation here that you left because you wanted Jeremy to be with Sherry.
But the second revelation is I didn't know that was the reason you left.
Yeah.
So we were just
And
like, what's
again,
that
we
guy's
didn't
name?
know this. What?
David. We were just like, what's with David?
Yeah, yeah, and we didn't know this till somewhat recently, when we talked about this later. And I'm still amazed by this, that I was completely oblivious to that. I don't remember paying for all of it, but I could see that being a reason where if I paid for it, I'm going to go through the whole thing. I can definitely see that. So you're saying, Damon, that you paid for the other part too, and you just gave up that money?
Hmm.
That's,
I was doing a
that's
solid
really,
for a friend.
that is a solid. I
I
mean,
didn't
I
get
completely,
that at all.
I completely
I didn't get
appreciate it
that.
now.
I thought that you left
Had
just
Mike
to,
had
I don't
Mike
know.
also left, there was it definitely stuff would have went down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What are you talking about? Stuff would have went down. What does that even mean?
Who was saying it didn't even when he was there? All right, we should cut
It,
this.
yeah, well, I don't know what that means. Are you saying that they would have started a relationship?
No, they just said, it would have been like perfect opportunity for like a makeout session. You're in the haunted house with the girl that you like, it's she's scared, she's gonna be holding your hand, it's the perfect place.
What do you think about that,
No,
Jeremy?
I agree. No, I agree totally. But I think we
It
should
was
move
headed
on.
that direction.
Yes. I think we should move on.
I
I,
didn't know any of that. That was completely oblivious. I do, you know what? There is something cool about that haunted house I just remembered.
okay.
Uh, remember that story about that when we were, this probably was part two. Um, well, before I go into that though, when I stayed, were you thinking, Jeremy, like, God, Mike, what are you still doing here?
No, I never really thought that because I don't know, guys. I mean, I know I never thought that,
Hmm. So
but
anyway,
okay,
we went through the dark. I think this was part two. Do you think so, Jeremy, when we were in that pitch black maze?
mm-hmm. There was actually
We were,
three total buildings, weren't there? There was three attractions.
I don't know. I
Because
can't remember.
I think the third one was like a slaughterhouse thing,
Okay.
and the pitch
And we
black
went through all
was.
that?
I think we did. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Well, one of them was that maze, pitch black maze, and I remember at that moment I was leading,
yeah.
and we obviously couldn't see anything, so we're just feeling around. And we came to a dead end. And this is so weird. This story is so bizarre because I told you that we're at a dead end. I'm feeling around all over the place. I was touching a person because I could feel the person breathing. It wasn't you, obviously. It wasn't Sherry. You guys would have said something. Somebody was standing right in front of me.
It's so weird.
It is weird. And I know that and it's weird because I feel like I was like feeling up this person, but I was like touching this person. I'm assuming their kind of chest or stomach area because I could feel like contracting of the body, breathing, you know? And I'm touching this and I'm saying, like I said, there's a person here. You know, they never did anything. They never said anything. They never, and it was warm. You know, it felt like I'm touching a warm living body. That was one of the weirdest things that has happened to me at a haunted house. Because again, that was a person, and they're just letting me touch them.
It was an actor, you think, or someone that
I don't. Why would it be a non-actor?
well, I don't know. I don't really know what anyone's up to at any given moment. Maybe he wanted to hide in there, like who even knows, man.
Well, I
But
mean, the thing is, if they're in the dark too, they can't see either, you know?
yeah, that's true. But
So,
that was the dead end.
yeah, because we turned around after that.
So
And
that's
then,
weird that he'd be waiting at the dead end, though.
yeah, well, maybe it probably was still a dead end, but yeah, maybe he was just standing, he or she was just
Yeah,
standing in the dead end. Maybe there was a doorway that the person was standing in front of. I don't know. We
yeah,
ended up getting out another way. You know, I
yeah,
just, 'cause now you guys led because we just turned around, so you were leading at that
yeah.
point. But yeah, that was weird. That was really weird that I know it was a person,
That's
you know,
creepy.
and that was just a weird story from that. And yeah, that's funny with the Damon thing leaving. We didn't know. I always find it interesting when I learn about things that I had no idea were actually going on. You know, when you learn revelations about things later. I wonder sometimes how many other things that have gone over my head. But yeah, that's a good story. That's a good haunted house story.
It was fun too. I did enjoy going through those. They did a good job setting those up. We
Yeah,
did it.
and again, you obviously didn't hold it against me, but yeah, I'm sorry for blocking you. You know,
That's okay.
things like that tend to tend to go over my head, so that's kind of in character.
I mean, I was just happy to be at a haunted house.
That's good.
I'm easily pleased. Do you
Have
remember
you
going?
gone to any this year?
I didn't yet, which is kind of crazy. But I think, I mean, it's just been really busy with classes and doing the
Yeah.
31 days. Yeah.
You know, I don't know why I just think of these things late, but we've always talked about going to the House on the Rock one,
Yeah.
and I always think of it. I don't get into the Halloween mode until October, you know, and by then it's kind of too late to plan things. Um, Especially like something like that where it's more longer distance. But
Yeah. I was there this past summer, actually.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, my sister wanted to go for her birthday, so we did it for it was like in July. It's been so long. That was the first time I had gone in years. That is
Yeah.
an awesome place. I can't believe how much walking there is though. Like it is huge. Yeah,
It
I don't
probably didn't change much though, right?
it not from what I can recall. I remember the
Mhm.
infinity hallway being a lot longer,
Okay.
but that's the only thing I kind of like. Oh, and the carousel room, I remember like that from being a kid, like the giant carousel and but there's a lot of new things that like I was like, "Oh, wow." Like I didn't really remember any of the organ room and
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Yeah, it's a really what a cool place.
When you go through there as a adult, you pick up on different things. Because I remember at the time when I was a kid, I didn't notice this. But then as an adult, I questioned what is going on here because in that carousel room and then later on through the next room, pretty much wherever they can fit one, they have these weird mannequins all over the place, women that looked like they were just from like a Kmart store that they got them when they closed, foreclosure sale. But they're topless. And it's like, why? Why? First of all, they don't even fit the theme where it's like these are modern mannequins and this is like kind of like, 1700s style stuff, 1800s. They don't even fit the period. They have like modern hairstyles and things like that.
Yeah.
But then they're topless. Why? I just noticed. Yeah, as a kid, you don't really pay attention to stuff like that, but I just noticed that that's just another oddity about that place. I don't know what goes into the thought process with that designing of the place.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Okay. Well, before we wrap this show up, I have just a couple questions. Um, we'll try to make this game. Let's go to let's go to four. I'll ask four of these. All right. Um, who directed Night of the Living Dead?
George Romero.
Romero,
Correct. I would say Damon answered that first. Okay. In this question, I'm gonna name different items, and you have to tell me what movie they're from. A wig, a shower curtain, and a motel.
Psycho.
Yes. Hmm. What year was Peter Jackson's Dead Alive released?
1985.
Nope. Do you want
What's the movie?
Dead Alive?
I don't even know that one.
It was 1992.
No.
Was that his first film?
I don't know.
No, it wasn't.
Why? What's significant about that? I've never heard of it. Did you bring that one up on your own, or is that from a card?
Yeah, I'm reading from cards now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you know that movie? I've never heard of it.
I'm not very familiar with that one.
Okay.
Really? Yeah, that's a classic. It's one we could do for a future episode of Freaky Film Club.
Yeah, I've seen it talked about like in Eli Roth's like History of Horror and some of those shows, but yeah, I've never really gotten around to checking it out myself. Okay. How many people does Michael Myers kill in the original Halloween?
It's a tough one.
Three?
I'm gonna say, yeah, don't say it. Well, can we go over everybody? Doesn't he kill the... He kills that mechanic because he stole his uniform, right?
Okay, yeah.
So is that one? I think that...
That's a
Well,
lot.
actually, are we counting the opening scene where he kills his sister? I guess we have to
I
count
think you
that.
would have to count that, yeah.
Okay, so 1, 2, Nancy. That's her name, right? Nancy and Linda. Um, her name's not Nancy. Anyway, we got 4.
Annie?
Annie, yeah, I think Nancy is the actress's name. Bob,
Mm-hmm.
so that's 5. He killed a dog.
That doesn't count. At least not according to slash cards.
All right, so we're at 5. I'll say 7.
Well, it was actually 5.
Oh,
Yeah. Should have stopped at 5.
so that was everybody that I said?
Yeah, you said them all, I think. I mean, you must
Oh.
have. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, some of these are difficult because it wants you to like list things. So it's like, all right, how about this? In what year was The Evil Dead released?
Is that 81?
That was 81, correct. Nice. Do you know what city The Sixth Sense takes place in?
Philadelphia?
Correct. Mm, well, what year was the original Halloween released?
78?
78.
78. Give it to Mike on that one. And that would technically be the fourth question correct, but we're going to extend it just for fun and go to 5 because I'm crazy about Halloween. Who directed High Tension? That's a tough.
Never heard of that.
I don't even know how to pronounce that. Alexandre Aha? Is that right? All right, let's keep going.
What is this movie?
I don't know. I'm just reading slash cards. I thought you
Okay.
guys would know it because you like a lot of different things.
No.
Just, okay.
Did you know, Damon, did you say something?
I've probably seen High Tension.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. In Beetlejuice, how does one summon the titular bioexorcist?
Name 3 times. Say it.
Yes. All right, now that's really the ending. Congratulations, Mike.
Oh,
You're
thanks.
today's big spooky winner. Since all those points were added to your original score, you were walking away with an ultimate Halloween prize pack. Somewhere around here. There's some pretty cool stuff in there, so congratulations.
What is it?
Well, it's like a grab bag of sorts. There's
Okay.
I just gotta assemble the rest, but there's like a plushie of a Sour Patch Kid. There's a original piece of the set from one of the 31 Days of Halloween. There's candy. I know you're not a candy guy, but maybe I can replace that with like small, scary plastic spiders.
Eat candy.
Oh, okay.
You could replace it with what?
Small plastic spiders or skulls.
Oh, I do eat candy sometimes. I have this.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah,
Okay, all right.
I do, but I watch it. I definitely don't eat as much as I used to.
Okay.
More fruit-based stuff, not like chocolate.
Sure. All right. Well, I think that's about going to do it for our Spooktacular Film Club Halloween episode. Thanks, guys.
That was fun. It's too bad Derek couldn't get on.
Yeah, it is a shame. But I think he did leave us with a Halloween memory of his own.
And in a way, it comes back from the original when we talked about the filming, how we couldn't get everyone together, the
Yeah.
Yeah.
problems. So this is why it's now you see why this doesn't work.
Yeah.
So stick around after I say Media Pod Smash Off for a bonus clip of some of Derek's, I'm guessing, Halloween memories.
hmm I wish
Uh,
we could respond to it, you know?
yeah, that would be nice. Yeah. I mean,
Maybe we should
technically,
record
you
like
could-
five or six just general responses and you could it could be awkwardly edited in.
yeah. No, that was interesting. I definitely feel like I can relate to that. That's one of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
here's mine. Happy Halloween.
Perfect.
One quick little tidbit related to the last review we did, the Coven review.
Hmm.
I don't know why, but that movie kind of just stayed with me for a while in my mind. And I was kind of looking into it, and I just was curious as to where they filmed and everything. Are you aware, Damon, that you live right by where that drive-in theater was?
No, where
Yeah,
is
it's
it?
just down the street from it's where Woodman's is now.
Hmm.
You know the
Okay.
Woodman's store in Menominee Falls, just
Yeah,
south of you?
yeah. I know. I listened to there's a on the American movie DVD. You can listen to a director's soundtrack with Mark Bouchard on it.
hmm
And it's also available on YouTube. You can watch it as well if you don't have the DVD. But he said that they filmed a lot of it in Menominee Park, which is where we shot that
hmm
Jason skit last year around this time.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why, but that movie kind of just stuck with me for a little bit. It was just in my head. And I was reading about it at work. Um, and then I wanted to say, oh, just a comment quick about the movie theater. Because did you tell Damon we weren't even remotely serious, but we were looking into the cost of that drive-in theater that we went to, where
I hadn't mentioned that yet.
yeah, Damon, where they screened the
48
Derek's
hour.
48-hour thing. That was the last time they were showing anything there. It's for sale. And we were kind of guessing how much it's up for sale. I said 100,000, which is crazy. To me, that's what it's worth. But that's probably not factoring in the land because that's way more land than I thought. Because wasn't it over 20 acres?
I think it was, yeah. Hmm.
And that's way more than I thought that was. There must be land that they never developed that they still own. And then you said 500,000, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, and they're asking 850,000. Um, we were kind of just talking about what would need to go into it if somebody wanted to buy it. I think it just needs too much work. And I think that I mean there's a reason that it's closing. It's because I guess just people don't want to go to those things anymore. I think it's kind of out of the way too. I think that that highway was a lot more traveled before I-94 existed.
Mm.
Um, because that was the main route from Madison to Milwaukee at the time. And now it's not the commonly traveled road anymore. So it would be neat in a alternate world to run a drive-in theater. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think anything's going to happen to it. I could see it being torn down like the Menominee Falls one.
Yeah. I mean, it's already been on the market for over a year.
Yeah.
So it just sucks that they're all kind of dying. There's a little
Well, I
like,
mean, Do you patronize them?
I did. I mean, when that one was in Kenosha.
And that one shut down?
Yeah, that one's gone too, I think.
And
But
is anything there now in its place?
couldn't even tell you. It's been a long
Mhm.
time. But I mean, I used to go. I mean, I probably didn't go like a ton of times, but I I liked going to that one because they did like I don't know if this was a common thing amongst drive-ins, but like the double features.
Mm-hmm.
So you could pay for the one and you get to watch two new movies, which was pretty neat. Depending on the lineup, I guess, because you could get some stinkers.
Yeah, two things that come to my mind. I saw that Marcus is gonna do a thing called like mystery movie or something where you buy a ticket and you don't even know what the movie is.
Oh, that's interesting.
You won't know until you get there, till it starts rolling.
Do you get to know anything about it?
What do you
The
mean?
like the
Oh, do
rating
you
or
get to know
genre?
anything? No.
Oh,
You
wow.
get to know that it's a movie.
That's that's wild. That sounds like
Yeah,
fun.
it's interesting. I'm curious to see how that'll go for them.
Yeah,
$5.
it'd be fun to try
So,
once.
yeah, and I don't know if it's going to be a new movie or something that's been out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, and then you mentioned the double feature. People are already doing that. They just
Oh,
don't pay.
right. Yeah, it's true.
Have you done that before?
In my life, yeah, I've done that. Not very often. I don't usually do that, but I've done
Damon, have
that.
you done that?
Like once or twice. It's I find it exhausting to go to a second film.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I've ever done that.
I went to see Grindhouse when they released. It was Tarantino's film and Robert Rodriguez's film together as one,
Mm-hmm.
and they showed Robert Rodriguez's film first, and probably three-quarters of the audience just walked out after the first film ended.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
happy Halloween, everyone.
Yeah. Media pod smash off, I guess.
The year was 2018. I was still working in the news industry at the time. Our news crew was trying to find a fun story to produce to celebrate the Halloween season. We got the idea to do a paranormal investigation at the Brumder Mansion in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. If you're not familiar with the Brumder Mansion, it has a lot of history, like being tied to Al Capone and was a speakeasy at one point. Possible prostitution took place while it was a speakeasy as well. I was one of the camera operators and the primary editor on this story, and it most definitely gave me chills. To see for yourself, take a look at some of the segments from this news story. What can I say? It most definitely was a haunted experience. This was a very fun project to be part of, and I was happy to be able to take a look at this paranormal building that is the Brumder Mansion. If you get the chance, and you're in the Milwaukee area, come and visit the Brumner Mansion. You won't be disappointed. Happy Halloween, everyone.